Hello, I'm Sephir Jerome, and I am here to talk about The Last Jedi. I have done a couple of long videos. I've written a few blogs about my opinions and feelings. I realize they can be hard to get through, so I'm going to just do a series of really short videos, or short for me because I'm kind of long-winded, but I am a novelist. Just sort of like my feelings as well, because I feel like it's important for women to be speaking up on these topics, because I feel like people aren't listening. Now, I have been published as a horror author. I have many books out. I read tarot cards at Comic-Con and other places. I also am now on Twitch TV doing a lunchtime tarot card reading thing, and you know, I have science fiction books published and stuff like that. So I work in the medium. I'm in Killer Rack and Slime City Massacre, so I'm an actress in B movies, so I kind of know my way around the field. I've been around for a long time. So my bee in my bonnet today is I'm still chewing on the thing where Kathleen Kennedy said that women don't relate to Luke Skywalker, so she has to create, or have her directors and writers create, some new people for us to relate to. Now, Kathleen Kennedy's a lot younger than me, so she's in that in-between generation. However, me, I was at Star Wars when it was Star Wars opening day in 1977. I went with my little brother. We were teenagers and we loved it. And for me, Luke Skywalker was my guy. Luke Skywalker was the reason I went to see that movie 28 times that year. You know, yeah, I had the hots for him. You know, are you Team Han, Team Luke? Well, I'm Team Luke, always have been. But part of it was because I related to him so much. I felt like Luke Skywalker. I was just a few years younger than what he was supposed to be in the movie. So I identified with that whole, you know, growing up and getting off the planet. You know, I was getting to that age where, you know, in high school and looking forward to, you know, starting my new life and what was I going to do. And that's what Luke was doing. He wanted to go off to the academy, but he had to stay and work on the farm another year. And then he meets these robots and this crazy old dude in the desert who knew stuff about his dad. And, you know, so we follow Luke through the story. And it was interesting and intriguing, and you know, all the layers unpeeled. We watched everything unfold as he did, and so he was definitely our link through to the story, and it was excellent storytelling for that. Despite, you know, people say what they want about George Lucas, he's the dude that created these people, so stop slamming George, for God's sake. Anyways, so Luke was my guy. I didn't relate to Leia because she was a princess. You know, we didn't, you know, later on we find out all the other stuff. But in the first story, she's a princess they have to rescue. And the minute they break her out of her cell, she grabs the gun and starts shooting. So she's very strong, feminist woman. And for me, as a teenager who's you know, as a little book nerd, and if they'd had video games back then, I would have been a video game nerd too. That was beyond me. It's like, oh my God, this woman, she's got a machine gun and all this. And of course, living in Canada, I didn't even know what a gun was. Well, I mean, obviously I knew. I watched these movies. But, so Luke was my guy. And so to say that women don't relate to Luke is hogwash, I say. You know, and so now they're creating all these new characters to appease the women, but it's like, we don't need appeasing, we're good. Like, women who have been Star Wars fans as long as I have, and there are a lot of us, and now we're finally coming out of the woodwork. I see on YouTube women talking, though I haven't seen anyone my age talking yet, but maybe I just haven't looked hard enough. But I see a young generation of women, you know, women my children's ages, coming out and saying, hey, I like Luke, and I cosplay as Luke, and all this. And so I just want to stand with my fellow ladies saying, yes, Luke is the guy. The Force is not female. The Force is around everything and everyone. It's not gender specific. I am very angry about this whole the Force is female stuff. I think it does a disservice. It just creates more splitting. The reason why people are upset at The Last Jedi is the lazy writing, not because it's a bunch of white guys in a basement who wanted things different. It's not that at all. It's the lazy writing. In The Force Awakens, we meet Rey, and when we first meet Rey, I thought, oh, how cool, they're doing a female Luke, which she is, and is even dressed just like female Luke, you know, and all that. And then they're trying to pull a fast one on us. I didn't mind her knowing all the things that she knew in The Force Awakens, because she was a woman living alone in a junkyard. She knew how to fix things, so you know, I let it go. She could fix the Falcon and all that stuff. That's fine. And I figured more stuff would be explained in Chapter 8, that no, she's actually, you know, she is part of the genetic lineage of Force users, which explains why she could battle Kylo Ren. Because even though Kylo Ren was wounded, you know, he had a bowcaster in the gut, which kills a stormtrooper in a uniform. But even though Kylo Ren was wounded and screwed up because he just killed his own dad and all that, he still should have won that fight. And yet I believe the real reason why Kylo didn't smite her down because he had the hots for her or was intrigued by her. But the most important reason in my own head is that he's her brother or her cousin, and he knows that because he's at least in The Force Awakens, he looked older than her. Then we get to The Last Jedi, they look about the same age. So I don't know. I don't know what to think anymore. But now they're just admitting they're making it up as they go along. So there's no point in having theories anymore anyways. You know, and when you don't, you know, like, they can all say, oh, we laugh at your theories, or, you know, you spent too long having theories. Well, that's half the fun of a project like Star Wars, is the theories. And you can only build theories based on what we know, and we have 6 other movies that we're basing the theories on, and with other people, they were basing theories on thousands and thousands of books and other material, which of course you know, is decreed that those don't exist now anyways, and that's fine. But we still had a building block of character development and theories, how the planets work, how the Force works, how, you know, very specific things. And so for one new young director who's suddenly coming in and just does what he wants, to kind of destroy the mythos that had been carefully built over the last 40 years, you know, it's disheartening, and it takes the fun out of everything. It really does. Because for me, half the fun was like, oh, what's Luke gonna say? And oh, when Rey hands him the thing, like I spent 2 years like tripping out what would the first words be out of Luke's mouth. Because Luke's the only reason why I went to see The Force Awakens, and he wasn't even in it, and I was pissed. But then I calmed down for 2 years going, okay, now we're gonna get a good Luke film. And then they bring him back, and we saw what happened. There's no tension with Luke, because I had no issues with him being a crusty old man, because we already knew he had hidden himself away. However, Luke Skywalker, once he realized his sister wants him, which he would have heard in his head anyway, so they screwed that up too, despite closing himself off from the Force. Twins have this bizarre thing. I've seen it with my friends who are twins. Like, he would still have heard the call of Leia as just a plain old twin, let alone Force things, right? And then we already know that when he has a battle with Kylo Ren, Kylo's not going to die and Luke's not going to die. We already know that going in. So that last battle, as cool as it was to look at, although I hated this thing, what the hell was that? And see you around, kid? Why is he saying Han Solo's line? Like, whatever. But as cool as the battle looked, and I have to say, that movie had amazing visuals, like, you know, and I'm in the D box going, this is great. But there's no tension, because Luke already didn't kill his nephew from, and that was the most ridiculous thing anyways. I don't even know how that plot got in there, because it just changes the whole character of Kylo Ren. Now Kylo Ren is a victim of child abuse. And so, yeah, it makes sense he'd grow up to be an asshole, because he's a victim of child abuse. His own uncle tried to kill him. You know, his parents shipped him off. And we don't know, and we still don't know the story of why they even sent him away to begin with. We don't know. They never told us. And we'll never know now. We'll never know, because they can't do flashbacks, you know. So it's a disaster. So it's lazy storytelling. That's why people are mad. So back to Luke and women who like Luke and all that. So yeah, I had zero issues with him being a crusty old dude on the thing, but you know, the final battle, he should have gone in person. And yeah, he may have been killed, whatever. We don't know. Maybe there shouldn't have been a final battle between him and Kylo. Maybe it should have been between him and Snoke, to have him unlock the grip on his nephew so he can shake some sense into him. And plus, we don't know who Rey is, and Rey is somebody, because The Force Awakens, I don't care, oh, your theories suck. No, my theories are built upon storytelling hints and clues, that when people tell real stories in real life and novels and whatever, there's onions to unpeel, there's clues to unlock, and J.J. Abrams set them up. For right or wrong, they are there. They're very much there. And so it's lazy storytelling to make Rey nobody, because it's easier to make her a nobody than it is to make her a somebody. Because if Rian Johnson had made Rey a Skywalker, a Kenobi, a Binks, a Yoda thing, whatever, he would have to actually sit and think about how that connects. How did this happen? Why was she hidden on Jakku? Who hid her there? And all of that. Even Maz knows who Rey is and what her deal is, you know. But Rian Johnson didn't want to go through all that stress of thinking of a proper story or whatever. So he just said, she's nobody. And we all know Kylo Ren is lying about it anyways, because he's a psychopath, and that's what psychopaths do. They lie endlessly all the time. We all know psychopaths, and that's what they do. So I don't care that Kylo Ren says she's nobody, because I know he's just trying to manipulate her. But in Chapter 9, hopefully we'll go back to the fact that we will find Rey's lineage, and then therefore it'll explain why she can do all the magical things she can do. Because now it's just frustrating as a woman to see this young lady kick everyone's butt with no training, no education, no nothing, right? It's just, you know, and even like with Captain Phasma, who's now been in 2 movies and we still don't know anything about her, I'm not interested in reading 20 books about how she built her armor from a boat or whatever the heck. You know, how did she get out of the trash compactor? That's one of the scenes I was looking forward to the most in The Last Jedi, is watching Captain Phasma getting out of that trash compactor, like we saw Luke and Leia and Han get out of theirs. You know, well, you know. Anyways, so I just wanted to chime in as a woman of a certain age that I love Luke. I wanted to be Luke. I love Mark Hamill. I was so excited to finally see him in person a couple of years ago when he came to Toronto, and I stared at him for a couple of days. I didn't talk to him. I was too scared, and I didn't have $200. But Luke is our dude, and I see all these images of Mark Hamill. No matter what Mark Hamill says and does, we know he loved Luke. He cared the most for Luke. He wanted the best for Luke, and but right now he's you know, is under contract, has to play the game for at least a while longer, and bringing him back as a Force ghost is not the best idea in my opinion. But we'll see what happens next. However, the Force is for everyone, in and around us all, and may the Force be with you.